Hello and welcome to EFD, where today we're looking at 10 clubs which degraded, cheapened and embarrassed themselves. 10. Man United. With sponsors ranging from official savoury snack partner Mr Potato to official responsible drinking partner Smirnoff Vodka, Man United have a dizzying array of promotional materials to stay on top of. But they dropped the ball in spectacular fashion in 2013. The club's weekly newsletter, United Uncovered, was highlighting the young talent at Old Trafford and went out with Januzaj, Welbeck and De Gea on the cover, alongside the headline, New Order, and a specially designed club logo. Unfortunately, the logo was eerily familiar, bearing a resemblance to the swastika, an Asian symbol adopted by the Nazis. And to make matters worse, the headline was reminiscent of Hitler's talk of creating a new European order in 1941. A mortified United quickly apologised for the error. 9. Liverpool. Everyone knows about the row between Luis Suarez and Patrice Evra back in 2011. The then Liverpool forward was accused of using racist language towards the Frenchman during a Premier League match, and the FA handed him an 8-game ban and a £40,000 fine. But rather than accepting the verdict and supporting the association's attempts to remove bigotry from football, Liverpool released a statement saying they were shocked and angered at the decision, claiming the Uruguayan would not walk alone. At their next match against Wigan, the Liverpool players warmed up wearing shirts with a picture of the striker, lending their support to a man just found guilty of racism. Former players condemned the move, while Reds boss Kenny Dalglish whined about critics trying to divide the club, hardly fitting for a team which has always prided itself on its values. 8. Eldense. A bad result can prompt a change of formation, a change of tactics, or even a change of manager. But Spanish side Eldense took a more drastic course of action after a nightmare campaign in 2016-17. Playing in the third tier, Eldense were competing with the B teams of top clubs like Villarreal, Espanyol and Valencia, and by April they were at the foot of the table. Next up was Barcelona B, and Eldense knew they needed a positive result to stand any chance of survival. However, they got battered 12-0, with two different Blaugrana youngsters netting hat-tricks, confirming that Eldense would go down with 6 matches still to play. They ended up winning just 3 of their 38 games and finished the season with a goal difference of -75. Not great, is it? But rather than rallying for a year in the Tercera division, they instead announced that the club would cease to exist, closing its doors after 96 years of play. 7. Arsenal. Next comes a miserable defeat for Arsenal, and no doubt you're wondering which one. Well, in 1992, the Gunners faced Wrexham in the FA Cup, and though the tournament has long been celebrated for giant killings, nobody thought one was on the cards this time. Wrexham had reached the third round by beating 2 non-league sides, and had finished bottom of the entire Football League the previous season, way down in the 4th division. They only avoided relegation to the conference because the league had expanded that summer, while Arsenal were the top flight title holders, having lost just once the year before. However, as Wrexham boss Brian Flynn said, on paper they should murder us, but the match isn't being played on paper. Despite the Gunners taking a 1-0 lead in the first half, Wrexham rallied, with goals from Mickey Thomas and Steve Watkin giving them a famous victory. Arsenal were shattered and failed to win for the rest of the month. 6. Akragas Calcio. Italian football has long struggled with corruption, but normally clubs at least have the decency to keep it under wraps. Not so Akragas, aside from Sicily, famously home of the Mafia. In 2009, after a 5-0 win, Akragas owner Gioacchino Srivatsa caused consternation when he went on a local radio station to dedicate the victory to Nicola Ribisi. Ribisi was suspected to be a regional mafia leader and had been arrested earlier that month for his links to organised crime. Unsurprisingly, the police were not happy with Srivatsa's actions and launched an inquiry into him. Meanwhile, the head of Italy's Anti-Mafia Commission claimed the club's association with criminals could have a bad effect on impressionable youngsters. Srivatsa refused to apologise. 5. Lyon. In 2017, it's insane that sexism is still a problem in football. In January this year, during a match between Lyon and Lille, the Lyon fans displayed banners saying that only men should come to football matches and women belonged in the kitchen. That's especially stupid at a club whose women's side have won 15 league titles, more than twice as many as the men, and 4 Champions Leagues, including the last 2. Women's captain Wendy Renard condemned the fans responsible, while the club president promised that Les Gones would get tough with the culprits. But it was Lille, Lyon's opponents on the day, who truly showed up their rivals. The Flanders side, who beat OL 2-1, offered women free entry for their next fixture. 4. Barcelona. Lionel Messi is undeniably the best player of all time, but he's also undeniably a tax evader. The Argentinian and his father were found guilty in 2016 of defrauding the authorities to the tune of €4 million and were handed a combined €8 million fine, as well as a 21-month prison sentence. Barcelona needn't have got involved at all, as Spanish law allows first-time offenders with sentences of under 2 years to avoid jail time, allowing Messi to continue playing. But the club decided to start a ridiculous social media campaign, encouraging the average Barca fan to show their sympathy for the multi-millionaire footballer by using the hashtag #WeAreAllLeoMessi. What's more, club president Bartomeu claimed that those attacking Messi, i.e. correctly convicting him of a crime, were also attacking Barca and its history. The campaign justifiably had the piss ripped out of it on Twitter, and when Neymar and Mascherano were targeted for the same crime, Barca wisely stayed quiet. 3. India. Okay, so they're not technically a club, but the Indian national football team embarrassed themselves horrendously in 2015, during the early stages of qualification for the 2018 World Cup. After beating Nepal 2-0 to make the second round, India were placed in a group of such football giants as Iran, Oman and Guam. A tiny American territory in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, Guam started competing in 1975, and it took them a whopping 35 years to get their first win, a 1-0 victory over Mongolia. With 146th, their best ever FIFA ranking, no one fancied them against India, but somehow they ran out winners, racing into a 2-0 lead and holding on despite a late Indian strike. To put that in context, Guam has a population of about 160,000 people, while India's is 1.3 billion. It's the equivalent of Oxford, the town, not the football club, beating a combined team of Europe, South America and Mexico. Mental. India went on to finish bottom of the group, 4 points behind Guam and 10 behind Turkmenistan. Not a great showing. 2. Newcastle United. Argentinian winger Jonas Gutierrez spent 7 years with Newcastle, but at 30, his career and life looked to be in danger. The wide man was diagnosed with testicular cancer and spent the best part of 2 years out of the game while he went through surgery and chemotherapy. But as they say, a leopard doesn't change his spots, and Newcastle owner Mike Ashley couldn't avoid being his usual scumbag self. Just 2 months after Gutierrez had undergone surgery, the club told him that he would no longer play for the Magpies, as a 1-year extension of his contract would automatically be triggered after a set number of appearances. And to add insult to life-threatening injury, then manager Alan Pardew didn't even contact Gutierrez during his recovery. Clearly upset and disappointed, Jonas sued the club and won a £2 million settlement. 1. Boa Esporte. It seems as if clubs will forgive anything if they think a player will improve the team, even murder. Goalkeeper Bruno had featured for Corinthians and Flamengo before he went to prison in 2013 for kidnapping the mother of his child, murdering her and feeding her body to his dogs. Unsurprisingly, Bruno was sentenced to 22 years behind bars, but was released just 4 years into the term in preparation for his appeal. Most clubs would have steered clear of a convicted murderer, but not second-tier Brazilian outfit Boa Esporte, who signed Bruno on a 2-year contract. 3 of Boa Esporte's sponsors ditched them over the move, but the club president said that Bruno had served his time, despite the stopper still owing the state the best part of 2 decades in prison. In the end, Boa Esporte had shown themselves to be disgusting sellouts, and they didn't even benefit, as Bruno was sent back to jail 2 months later. So that was our top 10 clubs that humiliated themselves, but what did you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, why not check out last week's Stat Wars, where another classic battle took place between Chris and Pat. And as always guys, don't forget to like and subscribe.